The students of Douglas High School returned to school today. You'll hear from students about an emotional first day back.
A new report says pedestrian deaths have significantly increased in the city of Los Angeles. I'm Aton Wallace, and I'll have reaction from LA's mayor next.
Plus, the NFL scouting combine is underway. Our sports team has the latest on former USC stars like Sam Darnold and Ronald Jones. Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
Seeing the empty desks was rough. Being right next to some of the empty desks was rough.
Just 2 weeks after 17 of their classmates and teachers were killed, students of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School returned to class. Both teachers and students described the day as surreal. Good evening, I'm Leslie Ambris.
And I'm Sophie Flay. The school has increased armed security, but understandably, being back at school is still difficult for everyone.
When I was there, I felt like I was choking, like if I was having an asthma attack. It was very difficult to grapple with everything, you know, especially with the freshman building, which is where the tragedy happened. There's a fence built around it, and there's armed officers at all times, including through the night now. And walking through there to get to some of my classes, it was tough.
These students have been very active in speaking out for stricter nationwide gun control, meeting with lawmakers and holding protests in Florida's capital. Walmart announced today it will no longer sell firearms or ammunition to people under the age of 21. The move comes hours after the CEO of Dick's Sporting Goods said the company is ending all sales of assault-style weapons.
Our hearts went out to those kids and to their parents, and everybody talks about thoughts and prayers going out to them, and that's great. But that doesn't really do anything.
The retailer also announced it will no longer sell any gun to anyone under the age of 21 and will stop selling high-capacity magazines. Dick's is a prominent national gun seller. Local customers we talked to said they're happy with the change.
I absolutely applaud it. I think it's a prudent and a very positive move by them. Automatic rifles are meant for the battlefield, not for the street.
When people look at the Second Amendment, they take it like religion, where they accept the interpretation that's given to them. But the Constitution is a living document. We can continue to interpret it in a more modern way to meet the needs of society.
We reached out to Big 5 Sporting Goods, which also sells guns. In a statement to Annenberg Media, Big 5 says it does not sell assault rifles. Big 5 made the decision to discontinue that product line in 2016, and the company no longer sells those rifles. In 2016, Big 5 also discontinued high-capacity magazines with those rifles. Big 5 has never sold bump stocks, slide fire, or similar devices. We reached out to the National Rifle Association, but they have not responded to our request for a comment.
A Georgia high school social studies teacher is in custody tonight after barricading himself in a classroom and firing a handgun. No students were in the room. Nobody was injured by the gunfire, but one student hurt his ankle while he was evacuating. The teacher fired the gun once toward an outside window after the school principal tried to enter the room. A spokesman for the police department said it didn't appear the teacher intended to harm anyone. White House Communications Director Hope Hicks has announced she will resign the post she's had since last August. The announcement comes a day after Hicks testified to the House Intelligence Committee that she had told, quote, white lies while working for the White House. Hicks is the latest in a string of high-profile resignations within the Trump administration and the fourth communications director since President Trump took office.
A news report says pedestrian deaths have significantly increased in LA. As Annenberg Media's Aton Wallace shows us, city leaders believe cell phones and texting are partly to blame.
Evan Dotson remembers July 3rd, 2011 like it was yesterday.
Smack, I'm airborne.
That's the day he was hit by a car in a hit and run at this mid-city intersection.
I hit the ground and I hit my chest and I gasped for air.
He broke his leg but considers himself lucky. He lived to tell about it. Hundreds of others do not. A new report from the city's transportation department reveals that in 2015, 74 pedestrians were hit and killed. And in 2017, that number nearly doubled to 134.
We will enforce the law, but you have to do your part too.
LA's mayor says the city has improved the streets for pedestrians, but believes the gadgets at our fingertips are part of the problem.
We think it's because too many people are walking and texting, driving and texting.
My main worry is that a student is going to get hit while we're crossing just to go to the library.
The library is across the street from St. Paul Elementary School, where Linda Guzman is the principal.
Principal Guzman says crossing this street for her and her elementary school students should be an easy process. All you need to do is press this button, the lights go on, the traffic stops, and you cross the street. But she worries it's not safe.
Cars don't stop for the kids, and there's been some close calls. We all want to be on our phones, we're all rushing, we all have classes or work, but kids are not replaceable. Humans aren't replaceable.
Dotson agrees.
Be wary when you're in the street, when you're crossing the street. Your life can be endangered.
Advice he hopes can make a difference so that what happened to him won't happen to anyone else. For Annenberg Media in Mid-City, I'm Eitan Wallace.
A new report shows many Disneyland employees don't earn enough to afford rent, food, and other basic expenses. Annenberg Media's Sonica Bargo has one employee's story.
Artemis Bell has worked at Disneyland for 7 years.
I work overnight custodial.
And she likes her job.
I like walking out of the park at the end of my day, the beginning of everybody else's, knowing that the guests are walking into a sparkling, pristine park. I like knowing that I was a part of that.
But Belle and several other Disney employees say they're not getting what they deserve.
I have enough money for either a place to live or for a vehicle, and I've always chosen a place to live. So it's always meant that I had to choose not paying something else in order to pay the apartment.
The report released yesterday by Occidental College and the Economic Roundtable found that many Disney employees report homelessness, food insecurity, long commutes, and low wages.
The average hourly wage for Disneyland employees has dropped 15%, from $15.80 to $13.36.
But Disney says the numbers in the report aren't accurate. Disney spokesperson Susie Brown said the 5,000 employees surveyed don't represent the 30,000 workers at the park. In a statement, Brown said, quote, "This inaccurate and unscientific survey was paid for by politically motivated labor unions, and its results are deliberately distorted." But Bell thinks Disney can do more for its workers.
One of the most profitable companies in the world really doesn't have an excuse to be underpaying people who, without us, I don't think they could function properly.
Bell hopes that sharing her story will help bring about change for all Disney employees. For Annenberg Media, I'm Sonica Bargo.
Sexually transmitted infection rates are up nationwide, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, USG wants to make STI testing more accessible to students here at USC.
I think that the Student Health Center does have a lot of really great programs and they offer a lot of great services, but I think that there's definitely gaps in sexual health that we're now seeing as sexual health is becoming a little less stigmatized. So I hope that the university moving forward is able to kind of accept this culture change and move forward in continuing support.
As the rate of STIs continue to rise, the CDC is pushing for greater prevention methods. USG's proposed screenings and awareness will be important to keeping the students of USC free of these infections. More than 300 million people suffer from these what are called rare disease genetic disorders that can be harder to diagnose and expensive to treat. Annenberg Media's Olivia Sandusky shows us how some local activists are trying to raise awareness.
Molecular biology PhD student Cynthia Hsu is very familiar with rare diseases.
So it's kind of been a personal journey for me. So I grew up in a family where 3 out of 6 siblings, my mom's generation, were affected by muscular dystrophy. So I watched as my mom developed her symptoms and passed away.
Today is Global Rare Disease Day, and Cynthia's club, the Bruin Allies for Duchenne, have an event to raise awareness for these uncommon diseases. Diseases like muscular dystrophy don't yet have a cure and can often cost thousands of dollars for patients to undergo physical therapy and treatment.
The reason we need to raise awareness for rare diseases is because there's not enough treatment. Only 5% of rare diseases have a treatment.
It's often expensive and difficult to find doctors who are equipped to fight rare diseases.
After patients experience certain symptoms, it takes
takes on average up to 4 years for rare diseases to be diagnosed. UCLA has a clinic at the Medical Plaza run by faculty members and experts who specialize in rare diseases and help diagnose patients quicker. Matthew Herzog is a study coordinator in the Human Genetics Department at UCLA and specializes in undiagnosed diseases.
A lot of times the rare diseases don't have the infrastructure or the treatments or even the people interested in looking into them, so a lot of times you'll get these patients that are just ends of ones and they have to kind of struggle through the system and be their own advocates.
And many families who have members with rare diseases are out advocating today. Groups like the Global Research Foundation have fundraisers planned with the goal of earning $1 million for research and treatment options. For Annenberg Media, I'm Olivia Sandusky.
The recent cold weather will be joined by rain in the coming days. We spoke to a climate expert to find out how long we can expect this to continue.
Plus, taking a cue from the movie 3 Billboards, an artist put up billboards here in LA calling out sexual misconduct. We have the reaction.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us, when others are down, to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at our best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
The 2018 Academy Awards are this weekend, and one artist is already sparking controversy with his Oscar predictions. A conservative
We need to have it called out more, and art is definitely the best expression to do it.
They are being protected. I think they should be brought out because these things that are happening to the female people in Hollywood is something that shouldn't happen to anyone.
The billboards have been restored and are no longer covered. The Oscars are this Sunday, March 4th.
Temperatures have been unusually low in Southern California and Los Angeles the last couple of days, but an expert on climate says there really isn't anything to be worried about.
Things even out. The weather wiggles around. We have cold weeks, we have warm weeks. Overall, it's been an abnormally warm and dry winter, so a little bit of weather doesn't really hurt anyone.
You know, I thought by leaving Pyeongchang earlier this week, I was also leaving behind the cold weather.
I know. I'm wondering when I can put on my winter coat again. Let's ask our weather anchor, Trevor.
Well, Sophie, I can't guarantee we're going to get the same cold weather that you had in Pyeongchang, but it is still going to stay unseasonably cool as it has been for the past couple weeks or so. So let's take a look at our current conditions right now. It's 56 degrees outside, and it's fair skies, and it's only going to get colder throughout the night, so make sure you bring those jackets out with you. Now, we will see rain later in the week, but I'll get to that soon. If we take a look at our temperatures across the LA area tomorrow, up in the mountains, 38 degrees in Big Bear, you are going to see about a foot or so of snow in Big Bear actually throughout the next week. So if you want to snowboard, get out to that. And then in the Inland Empire, 62 degrees. Now as we move up the coast, 59 degrees in Thousand Oaks, 59 degrees in Malibu, and 58 in the valley. Now in the LA Basin, as we move towards downtown, it'll be 59 degrees at USC, 61 in Pasadena, 64 in Anaheim, and just across the board, generally lower 60s, upper 50s throughout the rest of the region. Now, if we take a look at our 5-day forecast, you're going to see that there is some rain scheduled, and it'll be about upper upper 50s, low 60s throughout the rest of the week. As we head into Sunday and Monday, it'll get a little bit warmer, but again, we're going to see about half an inch or so of rain in the LA area in the next couple days or so. Now, evacuation warnings have been issued for Santa Barbara County this morning in anticipation of a large winter storm that could drop up to 3 inches of rain. The area is especially at risk due to the mudslides that killed 21 residents last month. One restaurant owner has closed up shop and is trying to help dig out homes that are still covered from the last disaster.
This is a community that's given us a lot over the years, and it's very painful to watch people go through this. It's been a very traumatic time for all of us. Nobody would have thought what happened was possible, and it happened. And so now everybody's a little bit more cautious about saying, oh, no, it won't happen here. You know, it's a possibility.
Now, if we take a look at the evacuation warnings in Santa Barbara County right now, the yellow is the high-risk areas, whereas the red is the extreme-risk areas. Now, you might see this light gray over here. That is the area where the Thomas Fire and actually all risk too. Now, Allison Hardy on the phone was her restaurant is located at that green arrow over there, and she's right on the edge between a high-risk area and an extreme-risk area, and she'll be evacuating very soon and trying to help everyone else evacuate as well. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Trevor. Supporters of young undocumented immigrants are gathering right now in MacArthur Park. Organizers want Congress to pass an act to guarantee the status of Dreamers who are in legal limbo after the U.S. Supreme Court refused to hear the case. Annenberg Media's Suji Nam was with them in MacArthur Park.
Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! No dream! No deal! No dream! No deal! No dream! No deal! No dream! No deal! Live right now. This is going on right now. These are passionate people who want to fight for justice. They want to fight for their rights. Today, the protest
It is time for us to get the path to legalization that we deserve. We've been waiting for quite a while, and it is time to demand it, since we already know that a couple weeks ago Congress failed, the Senate failed to pass any bill, bipartisan or not. Therefore, we're here still demanding and still telling them we still exist, we are not going anywhere, and we're here to demand for our rights.
Now the Supreme Court declined to hear the Trump administration's case, and therefore the DACA program, which was supposed to end on March 5th, will now not be anymore. It should be up in the air. Now, for those of you who still want to support this event, this is still going on. It's going to end later tonight. At 7 o'clock, there's going to be a vigil at the Metropolitan Center. So come check that out if you can. Reporting live in downtown Los Angeles, I'm Suji Nam, sending it back to you guys.
Let's toss it to our sports anchor.
Thank you, Leslie. USC's beach volleyball team is actually playing against Pepperdine right now at Merle Norman Stadium. We'll check in for a live update from Victoria. The NFL Combine officially started yesterday. Which Trojans are the ones to watch as on-field workouts begin on Friday? Finally, after an up-and-down regular season, the women's basketball team has touched down in Seattle for the Pac-12 tournament. Who are they facing first? You'll find out next.
You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. Why would you do that?
Probably okay isn't okay. Call a cab, a car, or a friend.
Good choice.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to SaveTheFood.com.
After 15 years of smoking, cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back. It's time for sports. The #1 ranked women's beach volleyball squad kicked off back-to-back battles today against #3 UCLA and #5 Pepperdine. The women of Troy suffered defeat at the hands of the Bruins 3-2. It went down to the final set of the match on the final court, but the women of Troy just couldn't come out with a win. Now let's check in with sports correspondent Victoria Garrick, who is live at Merle Norman Stadium to see if the action has started against the Pepperdine Waves. Victoria?
Thanks, Lauren. I'm here at Merle Norman Stadium where, as you said, the Trojans suffered a heartbreaking loss in this middle court. It was April Bustamante and Therese Cannon, who you can see behind me. Therese Cannon, a senior and a captain. I spoke to her about the loss, and she said it is heartbreaking, but they're looking forward to that revenge match on Saturday. Not always you get to play the Bruins twice in 1 week, but this Saturday at Zumit Beach, the Trojans will play Pepperdine and UCLA again. It is looking like they're going to take that win over Pepperdine, so really they'll be focusing on what they can do to improve and win that match against UCLA this Saturday. Thanks, Lauren. Back to you.
Thanks so much for that live update, Victoria. I hope they can come out with a win. Follow us at Annenberg Media Sports on Twitter for more updates. Now we're leaving campus to cover the action all the way in Indianapolis for the 2018 NFL Combine. 6 Trojans were selected to attend this year's Combine. This is down from last year's 8 Trojans invited. So who are we going to see there? You've got to start off with the potential #1 overall draft pick, quarterback Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's level of accuracy, control in the pocket, and mobility under pressure are what have attracted scouts. But his mental strength is what really sets him apart. He was the talk of the draft last year when he wasn't even going. Despite the long anticipation, scouts will have to wait just a bit longer to get a close-up look at this talented QB. Darnold has elected not to throw at the Combine and will save himself for USC's Pro Day on March 21st. Also in attendance but definitely participating in the on-field workouts are seniors Stephen Mitchell and linebacker Uchenna Nwosu. Additionally, there is Rasheem Green, who's going to be there, and Deontay Burnett. All of these are performers that really need to have a big day in order to get their mark on the scouts' minds. The last standout is Ronald Jones II. Jones is known for his explosive speed, which makes him a menace for opposing teams. He may be one of the most under-talked-about Trojans heading into the draft. There are predictions, though, of a first-round selection by the Eagles in the 32nd spot, but a strong showing could solidify this spot or a selection that's even higher. Here we have the on-field schedule for the Combine. Jones is the sole Trojan on Friday. Burnett and Mitchell take the field as well as Darnold's QB competitors on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Uchenna Nwosu finishes up the last of the Trojan action. But there's actually a lot of the Combine we don't get to see. Measurements, medical exams, interviews, and psychological testing are all things that they don't show on television. The 2 Trojan seniors and 4 early entrants there hope to make big impressions on the scouts with some impressive performances in Indianapolis. Now leaving the turf, let's turn our attention over to the court. Key Arena Stadium in Seattle to be exact. The 2018 women's basketball Pac-12 tournament kicks off play tomorrow. The 7th-seeded women of Troy start Pac-12 play on Thursday against the 10th-seeded Washington State Cougars. Head coach Mark Track says they've got some strong leadership to lead them to victory.
Our 3 seniors have been great leaders all year. Kristen Simon's having a really good year. Sadie Edwards is playing well, and Jordan Adams is our glue.
USC is determined to make a splash in the Pac-12 tournament to secure a spot in the NCAAs. It'll be tough as the women are 9-9 in conference play, but it's not impossible. To get there, the Trojans must start tomorrow by defeating the Cougars. The women start Pac-12 play tomorrow, but the men's basketball team has 1 team left to square off against before entering tournament play, and it's none other than crosstown rival UCLA. The Trojans fell victim to the Bruins in Pauley Pavilion with a crushing 82-79 loss at the beginning of February. USC is looking for revenge to hold on to their second-place spot in the Pac-12, heading into the Pac-12 tournament. Despite missing some key starters, the Trojans maintain a strong position with home court advantage and the added emotion and passion that senior night will bring. The Trojans are hoping all of these ingredients will serve the Bruins up with a humble pie defeat and a victory for the Trojan seniors in their last regular season game in the Galen Center. You guys going to the game?
Now I am after hearing all this basketball talk. This is amazing.
Like to hear it.
So great. Thank you guys so much.
Today, USC welcomed some half-century Trojans back to campus.
We'll show you how the 50-year graduates got to experience a day in the life of a modern-day college student next.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be?
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Today, USC welcomed back alumni who graduated 50 or more years ago. Today marked the 10th annual half-century Trojans going back to College Day.
Well, I came back last year for the first time. I couldn't believe the changes that have been made here at the university. It's beautiful, gorgeous, and I'm just very thrilled to be back here and excited to be back on campus again.
The former graduates had a jam-packed day today. It started with breakfast at Argy Plaza. Afterwards, they attended classes and workshops as they toured around a new look at USC's campus. They even got to see new buildings such as the new Annenberg Media Center, Michelson Hall, and the USC Village. The alumni looked glad to be back at USC.
And are you feeling stressed out or missing your dog at home? Well, some puppy playtime with the new Rent-A-Pup service might be exactly what you need. A group of USC students who started this service will deliver a puppy of your choice right to your doorstep. They're charging $20 for 30 minutes or $35 for an hour of playtime, and they say all proceeds will go to charity.
I think it could be a good way to figure out if you can even handle a puppy before you end up adopting it. Or especially during finals week, I would totally rent a puppy.
I think it's a good opportunity for people to get some love, to get the company of a puppy. So I'll be in favor of that.
The deadline to rent a pup is tomorrow at 3 p.m. and some puppies are already completely booked, so go online and rent your puppy while you can. Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Leslie Ambris.
And I'm Sophie Flay. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Good night.
So would you guys ever get a puppy?
Oh, I would die for one of those puppies. There's